If you're familiar with my videos at all, you know that I do a lot of cooking demonstrations for my recipes in my cookbook, Pop It in the Toaster Oven, that can be bought anywhere. But lately I saw an article and a recipe in Bon Appetit, which I subscribe to. It's one of my favorite magazines. And it was for a root vegetable tart. And what really snagged me was not just the lovely picture. Doesn't that look beautiful? But then underneath it said, leftovers? Yes, please. This vegetarian showstopper is delicious, room temperature, cold, or even, it says, trust us. It's reason alone to get a toaster oven. Well, I decided I really had to try this. This was just too lovely to not serve for guests later in the week. So I have assembled the ingredients now. I have to say that instead of slicing the ingredients into half-inch rounds, I have sliced them quite a bit thinner. And all the rest of the ingredients are very faithful to this recipe. They're advising fresh rosemary and sage. Well, I do have fresh rosemary, and I do have some fresh sage in the garden, but I thought what I would use is my garden mixture that I made myself, which is including rosemary, basil, oregano, sage, and parsley. And I think that will work well too. So I'm going to preheat my toaster oven to 400 degrees, and then I'll show you the ingredients that I'm going to combine and put on a rimmed baking sheet. So isn't that pretty? What this recipe is calling for is a medium-sized sweet potato, medium-sized carrot, medium-sized, a small purple onion, a medium-sized potato, and medium-sized parsnip, all of which I have sliced up. And they say slice into 1/2 inch slices. Well, I couldn't resist. I used my mandolin, and they're much thinner than that. But I think they're going to work out just fine too. The other thing is that I couldn't find any parsnips at the store, so I bought a rutabaga and sliced that up. So what I'm going to do is put these all in a bowl and toss them with 1/3 cup of olive oil, and then season with freshly ground pepper and salt. Colors of this are so pretty. You know, when the weather gets cold, it's really nice to eat something cheerful, I think. Here is the 1/3 cup of olive oil. And here's freshly ground pepper. I think that should do right there for me. And then I'll toss in a couple of these little, this is kosher salt. That's probably enough. I like salt. And then I'm just going to toss these vegetables. So I'll get all these slices on here. Oh, that's so pretty. And you know, from time to time I get messages from my subscribers on YouTube or emails saying, oh wow, I really like that recipe a lot, but you know what I did? I used olives instead of mushrooms. And I'm sure the people at Bon Appetit get the same sort of messages, and they're probably really happy that people are trying their recipes and are inspired to use some other kinds of ingredients if they have to or if they want to. Now, the recipe says that this should go in for 30-35 minutes at 400, or until the edges are golden, and the pieces are tender. So I'm going to set the timer for 35 minutes with the understanding that my slices are much thinner, so it might not take as long, or it might take even longer. And while those vegetable slices are baking, I have in this small saucepan at a medium-high temperature 1/3 of a cup of sugar and 2 tablespoons of water. And I'm going to be cooking this for about 5 to 7 minutes until it becomes amber colored. Amber color, that's what we're looking for. I'm adding a tablespoon of white wine vinegar, swirling that to mix, a little bit of salt, pinch of salt, swirling to mix, and now I'm going to pour this sugar mixture into a 9-inch pie pan. Oh boy, this smells so good. I'm going to tip the pan to spread it evenly all over the bottom. Okay, there's the sugar and it's setting up, and now I'm going to sprinkle it with my sage, rosemary, oregano, and basil mixture. So I would say these vegetables are tender and golden around the edges. I'm going to let them cool now, and then I will arrange them in the pie plate. Now the pieces are cool, so I'm going to be arranging these vegetable slices into the pan like this. Making an even layer. I have here 4 ounces of crumbled goat cheese. That comes to about a cup. I'm sprinkling it on the top of these layered vegetable slices. Now I have a 12-inch pie crust that I'm layering over the top. Tuck the edges in. All the way around. And then I'm just going to make holes all over the top with a fork. The toaster oven is still up to temperature. It's at 400. So I'm going to put this in for about 15 or 20 minutes until, as they say, the dough on the top looks dry. And well, I'm looking at this and it says that after 15 minutes the dough should be dry looking, and then I should bake it for another 15 minutes at 350 until it's golden brown. But you know what? This is a commercial crust. It's not their beautiful all butter crust that's also in the magazine. So I'm thinking this is almost done. I'm going to give it just a few more minutes at 400, and then I think this crust is going to be done. Wow, so there's the tart. And, you know, because this is a commercial crust, that took 25 minutes at 400. I just changed the recipe a little bit, and definitely the crust baking time was shorter. So now what I'm going to do is to cool this for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to invert this tart out onto a plate. Oh, wow. And there it is. I turned it upside down and put it on the plate, and look at all the beautiful color. And the glaze, of course, is that wonderful sugar. I can't wait to taste it. But I have guests coming, and this is what I'm going to serve. Now let them say what they think about it. Okay, can you say that again? Let's say it correctly.
So here's to the Tarte Tatin.
Very good. What do you think, Inger?
Oh, wonderful.
And Georgia, what do you think?
I think I would cut this into little squares and use it as an appetizer.
Oh, okay.
Or a hors d'oeuvre at a party.
That's
That's very good.
good.
And the cheese adds to it.
Lovely.
And the salad. It's very good.
Good.